Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows. So today's video is just about people who have found themselves suddenly at home with their kids. And I just wanted to explain a little bit about what homeschooling is. Homeschooling is not school at home. Our culture has created this school system, the public school system, and we believe because of how they do things there, because they have to manage a group of 20 or so students, that that's the way to school. But most learning is done not sitting at a desk. So you have a great opportunity to just instill a love of learning in your kids if they're home right now. And I know some schools have sent stuff home, so I'm not trying to say not to do the things that are expected. I'm not even sure what those things are. But just to be able to work with your kids and just to show them how to learn and how to love learning. So read alouds are great. And I know that there's a lot of stuff that, like the libraries are closed and you can't get those books, but any books you have at home, reading them, asking your kids about the things in the pictures, asking them if it's a book you haven't read before, stopping and saying, hey, what do you think is going to happen next? Oh, where do you think Mr. Frog went? What color do you think he's going to paint the house? You know, those types of things. Just stop in the book and ask them those things if you haven't read it before. Also, YouTube is great for looking up books that you can have read to your kids. I know that there's some groups right now, I think it's called Storyline Online, where different actors are reading books out loud. You can also look up a book that you're interested in on YouTube, like type in The Very Hungry Caterpillar by Eric Carle, and you can probably find it read aloud. So other ways to get books to your kids. Telling stories is great, whether it's having them repeat a story that they already know. So like if they already know the story of the little red hen, ask them to tell you the story in their own words. Also making up stories. We do a lot of story starters in the house of just having the kids tell us stories. So, okay, pretend that you were on a walk and you met a bear. What happened next? And sometimes those are fun. Oh, Mr. Bear and I went on a picnic and blah, blah. Or the bear scared me and I had to run away and I had to call the police officers. You know, it can be anything. Drawing a picture and having the kids tell you a story about it, or having them draw a picture and tell you a story of what's happening in their picture. Those are all ways to add language arts to your day. Also, listening to things online. For those of you who might be interested, I just saw today that Adventures in Odyssey, which is a radio drama that's biblically focused, they have their club for free for 4 weeks. So that would be Wits End, WHITS end.org. They have it all free right now for the next 4 weeks. I haven't looked into it thoroughly, but we're going to do that because we enjoy those. But listening to things online, you can find a lot of things to listen to, or watching. Okay, so we're going to go into the next subject. So we got language arts covered. Science, history, watching documentaries. They're great. You can find lots of stuff online. Type in YouTube. The older girls and I have been watching, or Mark and I also have been watching Ken Burns documentaries about different things. We watched one about the Shakers, which was really interesting, and one about the Starter Radio, very interesting. All kinds of science animal things you can find. Moody science videos are old creation-based science videos, but there's also just a lot of how things work type videos that you can find out there. So those are really interesting. History, just look up a time period you're interested in and you'll find all kinds of stuff. Watching it with your kids, you can have discussions, and don't kill their love for learning while they're home. It's so easy to say, okay, so we watched this science documentary, now sit down and write a 2-page paper about it. And your kids are going to be like, Mom, I don't want to do this. Because your kids are in a really crisis time of their lives. They don't understand what's happening, so make this fun for them. Okay, so language arts we covered. History, science, we covered those things. And reading can cover those things too. Also, just doing simple science experiments around the house. Collect a bunch of things and get a big pot of water and say, okay, what do you think is going to sink and float? And make just guesses, hypothesis of what's going to happen, and put them in the water. Kids will love that. One day we got out aluminum foil. We had our friend Hannah over. We got out aluminum foil and the kids all made boats, and we put them in water, and then we tried to see how many pennies would fit on the boat before it sunk. So those types of things, great learning experiences. Getting in the kitchen also is covering science and math. So you can cover all these different topics. But getting in the kitchen and letting your kids cook, explaining, okay, we've got this recipe for cookies, but if we double it, so if we need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, how much do we need to double it? And talking those things through, or having a recipe. or just making the recipe how it says and explaining how teaspoons and tablespoons relate, those types of things. You don't have to be super smart to do any of these things. These are all just basic learning that your kids are using what they've already learned in school at home. For math, playing games. Tons of math skills in a lot of the different games we play. For little kids, any counting game is counted as math. At card games, where you have to count up your points for older kids, we play a game, it's called Casino. I don't know how people play it, but your goal is to match numbers. So you'd add a 6 and a 2 to use the 8 in your hand. A little hard to explain. War, that's math for little kids. Which one's bigger? All kinds of different math games. If you know rummy or cribbage, math games right there. Monopoly. So any board games you have, use those. Puzzles are also a different kind of math. It's how your body relates to things in space, and being able to see those patterns and colors on the board. So a lot of things you have are already school. Play with your kids. That is the most the easiest way for them to acquire knowledge is through play. So playing games, playing make-believe, playing dress-up, any of those things are very good. So other subjects, PE. I don't know if you saw our video this morning, but we were doing the hokey pokey. Simon Says is PE. Doing an exercise video off the computer. Those we did Leslie Sansone walk at home, 1 mile walk, something like that. Those are really interesting. Just get up and get moving in whatever way you can. So lots of different ways you can do school, but it's not sitting down at a desk to learn. Your kids will learn a lot just by you interacting with them. And that's something I have to remind myself. Turning off the electronics. Not saying your kids can't watch anything, but myself not being on the phone and being interactive with them. Also, there's a lot of things free right now, and one of the things my kids have really liked is the Cincinnati Zoo has a free thing every day at 3 where they have a zookeeper talk about one of their animals. Also, Answers in Genesis has a lot of free things right now where they have talks, like science talks by the different scientists. They also have a scientist who sits down and does experiments every day, and an animal project through there too. So look through those different things. But just instill learning, a love for learning in your kids. Don't make them sit down and do too many worksheets. Help them just learn that school is all around them. Learning is all around them, and that's what's important. So hope that this was an encouragement to you. And if you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below.